Midnight visitors. I lived in a rundown house with my brother, both of us counting down the days until we could leave that sketchy part of town. I worked nights at a hospital, and he did mid-shifts at a grocery store. Our paths rarely crossed except for quick hellos. One rainy night, I was off and staying up to keep my sleep schedule. Around midnight, a car parked outside with its lights on, blocking my view. A knock at the door followed, but seeing a stranger standing in the rain, I didn't answer. He soon left, and I brushed it off as a mistake. Later, I dozed off on the couch. When I woke, the rain seemed louder. Panic surged when I found the front door cracked open. I locked it and called for my brother, finding his room strangely open with noises inside. Two men rushed past me, fleeing as my brother chased them. They'd held him at knife point, but fled when they heard me waking up. We moved out soon after, leaving behind the mystery of why they targeted him. It's a night I'll never forget, a reminder that danger can lurk just outside your door, waiting for a moment of vulnerability. Shadows in the cemetery. I work as a groundskeeper at our town's cemetery. Despite what people think, it's usually not that creepy, except for those old bells on some graves that have been there for centuries. Most nights are quiet, the only excitement comes from kids who scatter as soon as they see me. One Thursday night in summer, I arrived at 10 p.m. I locked the main gate and noticed a man in a black hoodie walking along the fence. He seemed harmless, so I went back to the outpost and started my routine. Around 11 p.m., I took the ATV to check on the graves. As I collected flowers, I saw the man again, walking aimlessly through the yard. I approached, offering to help or give him a ride out, but he ignored me with a strange, sad smile. Suddenly, he lunged at me, hitting the ATV. I managed to escape and called 911 from the outpost. As I checked the security cameras, the man began banging on the outpost door, violently shaking the building. Just as I feared the door would give in, police arrived. The banging stopped, and the man fled into the trees. The police didn't pursue, unsure of his intentions. Weeks passed with no sign of him. Whether he was grieving or something else, I'll never know. But that night in the cemetery, I faced a darkness I hope never returns. The creepy delivery. V was a college student who made extra money by delivering food with DoorDash. One Friday night, after finishing his classes, he picked up an order that took him far out into the countryside. As he drove further from town, the houses became fewer and farther between. Eventually, V reached a small, dark house at the end of a long dirt driveway. The house had only one light on, the porch light. V knocked on the door but got no answer. He knocked again and waited. The house looked old and abandoned up close, and he realized the porch light was probably solar-powered, meaning no one had to be home to turn it on. Just then, he heard a car behind him. A man got out and stood by his car, not responding when V asked if it was his order. The situation felt wrong, and V's heart raced. He dropped the food and ran into the field behind the house. V hid in the tall grass until he was sure the man couldn't follow him. Eventually, he reached a road where he could call for help. The police came, but the man was gone. V was safe, but he never found out what the man wanted. It was a scary reminder to trust his instincts. The farmhouse farewell. When I was 19, I drove Uber to get by. One eerie night, I was working from 7 p.m. until 3 a.m., my usual shift as a night owl. Around 11 o'clock, I picked up a lady from a bar, then headed to a secluded farmhouse on the city's edge. After dropping her off, I received another request from 10 minutes away, deeper into farmland. Reluctant but needing the fare, I drove down a narrow dirt road lined with tall grass to find the pickup point, an old farmhouse atop a small hill. The place was dark, crops swaying loudly in the wind. I honked, then felt a tap on my passenger door. Startled, I turned to see a man leaning in, asking if I was his Uber. His eerie silence unnerved me, but I agreed to help him with something from the house. He led the way inside without a word. As I stepped onto the porch, he vanished into the darkness within. A chill ran down my spine. "Sir?" I called out, met only with silence. The house remained ominously quiet, no lights, no sign of life. Panic rising, I sprinted back to my car, speeding away through the fields. I canceled the Uber ride and never looked back. Later, I learned the farmhouse hadn't changed hands since the 1960s. The man I encountered wasn't the owner, possibly not even a resident. What awaited me inside that house, had I followed him, I'll never know. But I'm certain now, it was something far from ordinary. The hike. When I was 18, I moved to a new state to start college. With a few days before classes, I decided to explore the forest trails around the campus. One afternoon, I picked a trail that was supposed to take about 2 hours. I brought only a water bottle, expecting a short hike. As I started walking, I passed a lone hiker sitting on a fallen tree. He nodded at me, looking tired and dirty. 30 minutes later, I heard a man's voice calling. It was the same hiker, waving to get my attention. He asked if I was on the right trail and pointed to another path through the trees. He warned that people often got lost here. I thanked him and followed his suggested path, with him walking behind me. He said he had lived here for years and knew the trails well. After some small talk, we walked in silence for a while. Eventually, I noticed we had been walking much longer than expected. I stumbled over a rusty railroad track and saw an abandoned mine entrance nearby. Curious, I approached the mine, but the darkness inside was impenetrable. The man came up behind me, his demeanor now unsettling. He ordered me to go into the mine in a chilling monotone. Terrified, I ran without looking back. Once I reached the main trail, I glanced back and saw he was gone. I sprinted to my car and left, shaken by the experience. I realized how blindly trusting a stranger could have been fatal. The mysterious pizza delivery. I used to work at Papa John's during high school and college. One night, just before closing, we got a surprise order at 10:45 p.m. Even though I was almost done for the night, I had to deliver it. I wasn't happy about it. The address was in the woods, down a long, dark driveway. It led to an old, creepy house. I parked and walked up to the door, feeling uneasy. Before I could knock, I heard leaves crunching behind me. I turned but couldn't see anything in the darkness. I knocked quickly and waited. The door opened slowly, revealing an old man with strange eyes. I gave him the pizza, and he paid me in cash. As I turned to leave, I heard the leaves crunching again. This time, the old man noticed and grabbed my shoulder, startling me. He quickly paid and shut the door behind me. I rushed back to my car, feeling scared. I checked around but saw nothing. Later, I found scratches near my car door handle that weren't there before. It made me wonder if someone was trying to get inside. I can't be sure what happened that night, but it sure was spooky. The mysterious warning. One day, when Andre was 18, he was driving to his new college. His car was packed with all his things, and he was a bit nervous because it was his first long trip alone. He planned to drive for 2 days to cover the 600 miles. As the sun set and the sky grew dark, Andre found himself alone on the road. By 10 p.m., he decided to stop at a gas station before continuing his journey. This gas station was in the middle of nowhere, with no other cars or buildings around. Andre pulled up to a pump and started filling his tank when a man suddenly appeared next to him. The man looked old and homeless, which made Andre uneasy. "Hi, do you need something?" Andre asked, hoping the man would stay back. The man pointed behind Andre and said, "Take the exit back onto the highway." Andre was confused because the exit the man was pointing to was a one-way road. Ignoring the man's strange advice, Andre finished fueling and got back into his car. As he drove back onto the highway, he noticed something odd. The streetlights were out, and the road was very dark. Suddenly, a pickup truck appeared out of nowhere and blocked Andre's path. Four men with scary looks and weapons jumped out and ran toward his car. Andre quickly backed up and saw more people emerging from the shadows. He reversed as fast as he could, turned around, and sped away. He called the police once he felt safe, but he never got a call back. Andre realized the old man at the gas station had tried to warn him. Thanks to the warning, Andre managed to escape what could have been a dangerous trap. The shadowy pursuit. A truck driver, who had been on the road for nearly 20 years, was used to long hauls. One stormy night, while driving across the country, he noticed a car suddenly appear behind him with its lights off. The car was following too closely, making the truck driver uneasy. Seeing a sign for a truck stop just 5 miles ahead, the driver decided to stop there. He parked and waited, hoping the car wouldn't follow him. After a while, he felt a bit better and tried to sleep despite the storm. A loud thump on his truck woke him up. Looking out, he saw the car with its lights off and two men moving around in the rain. Terrified, he hesitated to confront them. Suddenly, the truck door slammed shut, and another man appeared, shouting at him to stay put. The truck driver could feel the truck shaking as the men outside watched him. After a few minutes, the men ran back to their car and drove away. Shaken, the driver called the police and reported the incident, but nothing ever came of it. He was grateful for his quick thinking and vigilance, knowing it could have been much worse if he hadn't been careful. The woman at the door. In 2016, I lived alone in a small countryside home. One evening, after getting home from work, I saw a woman standing at my front door. Startled, I parked and approached her cautiously. She smiled and waved, asking for directions to town. She had no car, which was odd, but I gave her directions. Instead of leaving, she tried to flirt and asked to come inside to warm up. I firmly refused and went inside, locking the door behind me. She walked down the driveway, and I watched until she disappeared into the dark. Later, I was winding down on the couch when I heard a knock at the door. It was her again, calling out for me to open up. I went to the window to check, and to my horror, I saw nearly a dozen men outside, some hiding in the trees, others near the porch. Terrified, I called the police. They moved around the house, talking to each other. When a patrol car arrived, they all fled into the woods. Days later, I learned that my neighbor down the road was missing. His house showed no signs of forced entry. Realizing I narrowly escaped a similar fate was chilling.